Kind of your attention, please. We'll call the meeting to order. This will be the 47th annual meeting of the Oakmont Village Association. And the first order of business will be to our credentials report. So I'll have our election individual, Ms. Nancy Caldwell.
We have exceeded 1,000 ballots.
Thank you very much, Ms. Caldwell. So we have a quorum established. The third item of business will be unfinished business. 3 Alpha is a report from the nominating committee. Mr. Shelton, do you have any further reports from the nominating committee? None. Thank you very much, sir. Okay, at this point in time, we'll take any nominations from the floor. I don't see anybody even slowly raising their hand, so I'll go on to the next item of business, where I'll close the nomination process at this point. Now we get into, yes, Ms.
Smarter than the microphone. This is a general meeting of the membership, so the president calls for an action from the floor to close nominations.
Thank you very much. Well, I have an action from the, nomination from the floor. We have Deputy Yule nominating and close nominations. Do I have a second? Second by Pat Clothier. All in favor? Aye. Okay. All opposed? There's got to be one of you out there. All right. Ayes have it. Close the nominations. Thank you. I wasn't. Like I said, the next item is where we start getting into the meat of the matter in the introduction section of the agenda. And this is something that we take great pleasure in. This is the first time this award, we're introducing a new award representing the volunteers of our community this year. And this particular award is for the Oakmont Service Award, if you will. Someone that has done service over a long period of time for the Oakmont community. And that individual I would like to nominate, we've nominated and elected to be the first recipient of this award is Mr. Mel Ruiz. Please give a round of applause. Let me say that this is presented to an Oakmont resident, periodically selected by the Oakmont Village Association Board of Directors for his or her enduring support of the Oakmont community. Now, like I said, this is not something that will be elected every year necessarily, but someone over a period of time that we felt their service to the community has been outstanding. That's what we're really aiming for this award. And well, I mean, Mel, it gives me great pleasure to be able to award you with this. Don't go away if you can stand here. We have a couple of good fellows that want to say a couple of testimonials for you. And that first one is Mr. Jay Cobb. Yes. Relax.
Thank you, Jim. It gives me great honor to be able to say a few words about Mel Ruiz at Kiwanis Club, because at most Kiwanis meetings, which meet weekly, Mel stands up and he's a great storyteller, by the way. As most of you know Mel, great sense of humor at somebody else's expense. So he goes into this long story telling about somebody, and it's so believable that you can hardly wait to find out who it is. Suddenly you find out it's about yourself. And Mel just does this over and over, but he doesn't pick on any one person. He spreads it around. Anyhow, Mel, you are one of a kind, You not only have given incredible service to Oakmont in terms of the hours that you spend, the tribute to veterans is a good example. He believes in an active adult community, remaining very active. He doesn't take no for an answer. He believes in involving everybody. Mel, it gives me great pleasure. Remember, you have a great sense of humor, so I want to be able to remind you of that. This award is given to you for your community service in Oakmont. It goes certainly beyond the veterans. It goes to the children. During Grandparents' Week, he gives free tennis lessons. In Kiwanis, he goes to the Children's Center across the highway and donates time there. He donates time at Kenwood School. He donates time for young and old. So this award is very special, Mel. But Mel is also a Kiwanis Club member, and Kiwanis Club is a service club. So Mel, this is how it works. This award that you're receiving, since I sponsored you into Kiwanis, I get to take credit for. So on behalf of all of you, I thank you for this wonderful award that I'll accept for Mel. Mel, this is April Fool's Day, and this award is for you, and you are certainly deserving. Thank you very much. There are just a couple of people that I'd like to come up here. Andy Altman and Scott Harris, they have a couple of very serious things that they want to say about you.
As Jay mentioned, Scott and I are the serious ones of the Kiwanis Club. Mel, last year as a coordinator of our pancake breakfast, you did a fantastic job. However, in all the meetings, we were wondering where you kept disappearing to. And then the other day,
little wine.
And Scott wants to give you some words of encouragement as well. Congratulations, Scott. What's the score of the game?
Well, let me check. Well, it's still nothing in the 8th inning. In case if you're wondering, we're referencing the Giants baseball game. Today's opening day down in Los Angeles. And Mel, Andy, would you show everyone your hairdo? As you can see, we're all members of the same hair club, and we thought it would be appropriate for Mel to have something to keep his ears warm. So Mel, on behalf of the club,
Thank you, Scott, for ending this on a serious note.
Once again, a large round of applause for Mel Ruiz. Now, the next item of business we'd like to talk about during the introduction is to introduce you once again to the candidates that you have still got a couple minutes to vote for if you haven't voted. And I see them sitting around here, so I'll go down the line. Mr. Yepa Yule. Ms. Fran Diaz. Mr. John Taylor. Mr. Hugh Helen. Mr. John Felton. Mr. Herm Hess. Again, thank you all very much for running. For any staff members we may have here, for those of you that may be new or not familiar with some of our staff members, our manager is Patricia Arnold. Her executive assistant is Kathy Daugherty. Wave your hand, Kathy. Thank you. We had Ophelia. She was here. You got to stand up, Ophelia. Okay. Ophelia Roman. She works in our office. And let's see, Penny Gosmer, is she here? Yep. And Miss Kelly Moore. Moody, excuse me. She's a painting lady. All right, and Mary Patricia. There she is. All right. And you just met all of our administration staff. The one person we have here from maintenance is Mr. Tim Fowle. He's in the back of the maintenance team. I don't believe we have any other maintenance personnel here. Okay, thank you. Next item I'm going to get into right now would be the state of the Oakmont Village, or if you will, the status of our report for the year 2012. Now, we've made hard copies for everybody. Also, we're going to be putting it up on front if you don't have a copy or if you want to make a note, whatever the case may be. Some of our accomplishments this past year has been the East Recreational Center roof replacement, the Pythian, notice the spelling, okay, entrance, we're remodeling that, thanks to Ms. Cassell for ramrodding that job and doing a fantastic job of getting that done. Our AED procurement was really, if you will, championed by a board member and Mr. Tim Fowle, our maintenance manager. The performance, if you will, of a forensic study of our major recreational areas, east, west, and central areas for the structural and a little more in-depth look at where we're at as far as how it affects our reserve study and our reserve funding. Overhauled and organized the employee personnel files to make them compliant with EDD and workman's comp and CPA audits. We also generated a new employee handbook, new personnel HR folder, and we did our treasurer and people that work with him, the manager and so forth, did a great job in refinancing of the CAC debt. CAC is Central Activity Center for those of you that haven't been here for those kind of things. We also cleaned, organized, and upgraded the facilities maintenance shop as well as 3 other pool equipment rooms. Any of you that have been through the shop or the pool equipment rooms will know that they were pretty disgusting, to be putting it mildly, but they've been taken care of, cleaned, and so forth. Initiated health and safety training program for all facilities maintenance employees. Inventory and proper stenciling of all pipes, pumps, and mechanical equipment. Purchased and placed MSDS sheets, books at every facility. For those of you that are not used with industrial, MSD is material safety data sheets, which are a requirement by OSHA and Cal OSHA whenever you have any kind of chemicals or anything like that throughout your facilities. That was lacking, and that has been taken care of. Improved pool and spa repair and maintenance, and changed to a licensed and certified pool supply and major repair service provider. Some existing projects that we have in a pipeline that we've been talking about, and you've heard a lot of discussions, are the CAC Burger Plaza, the Central Recreational Area Power, the OVA office, West Rec facility, the East Rec facility deck, Burger Center stage, and chemical storage sheds. Now, once again, it's always been the thing I think is the most important. Like we started off the meeting with an award to Mr. Mel Louise. Once again, I'm going to talk about the volunteers that we have within our community. And I picked down a couple of our groups and stuff like that. And one of the first ones I want to talk about is COPE, Citizens Organized to Prepare for Emergencies. They currently have, and I've been corrected, it's not 212, but 213 teams, 213 instead of 212. And that equates to approximately 80% of the homes in Oakmont. I know everybody says, well, big deal, but you know, when you watch the evening news and you see what happens on a tsunami or something like that in Japan, and it happened in Japan, but also happened, that tidal wave affected Indonesia, at Santa Cruz, California, did $1 million worth of damage. So these things do happen, and when they happen, it's great that we have citizens within our community that have taken the time and effort to organize things, to make things less chaotic, and hopefully that each one of our members will get a more prompt service as far as if they need any kind of medical attention. Also, our hikers. I bring this in here because of the exercise behind that it represents. And we've had 77 hikes by 33 hiking volunteers from Oakmont. And they go from easy, medium, to very difficult hikes all over the place. And it'd be a good club for you to join and a good organization for you. And you can just do mild hikes. You don't have to do the rigorous ones. And I think you'll find them very receptive and a very good group to work with. Then, as you'll see all the Kiwanis, they're all in blue here today. They donated around 5,417 hours of volunteer work. And some of that consisted of the annual pancake breakfast at the Oakmont Gardens, the jazz concert at Burger Center, Pops concert at Evening with Gershwin at the Burger Center, and a wee bowl-a-thon at the Kenwood School. And I'd like to take a moment. They said, as Mr. Cobb pointed out, this is Kiwanis was a service club. And once again, it shows where our clubs, whether they're affiliated or actually Oakmont personnel, do service for our community and the surrounding community. The next item that would be one that we run by volunteers is our lifelong learning. And we held 9 courses with 739 attendees at these courses. Stop thinking about that. And if you've talked to anybody in lifelong learning, I've never heard a bad word about it. I mean, it's just the presentations are phenomenal. The people that get there is great. The participation is fantastic. And those of you that are not familiar with it, please just ask for your neighbor or somebody close to you. I'm sure they either been to it or know about it. And more than welcome. They welcome everybody to attend. Then our other service club that we have in Oakmont, the Rotary. You'll notice that they had 7 benches painted. 8, excuse me, I've been corrected. Not 7, but 8 benches painted throughout Oakmont by aspiring artists. Young artists given the opportunity to earn some money while beautifying something within Oakmont. And that was paid for through the Rotary Club. They also assisted the Oakmont Volunteer Helper Group with insurance. They also helped with visual aid materials and supported Meals on Wheels program. Okay, Sunday Symposium, been here for 20 years. And right now you have some of these same people right now streamlining this as they do our candidates night. And that's Dutch Schlicklighter and Gary, staying up in the back, all right? So once again, these members work with the Sunday Symposium, and they're here to help us do that. The next one would be the visual aids. And this is one of the 40 years of making concept books for the blind. And that's 40 years, that's a long time. I mean, you're talking about consistent work, day after day, year after year. So I think that's just fantastic. And volunteer helpers, they've provided 201 rides. And we're sure that's not 202. Okay, we're going to stick with 201 rides with 5,000 Meals on Wheels and 3,000 hours of service. 3,000 hours of service, that's 1.5 man years. All right? Stop and think about that. So I think that's just another indication of where our volunteers, the people of Oakmont, and what they do for our community. So please work with me and give a large round of applause for all our volunteers. Excuse me. The next item I'd like to talk about is the financials. And you'll notice that in 2011, we managed our finances to the point where that we went into 2012 with only a 50% increase in dues. Right? And then if you look at what we did in 2012 and projected for 2013, we're projecting 0 dues increase for 2013. We had close to $200,000, right, in excess transferred to our ARF, or our Asset Replacement Fund. So you have to sit there and make the difference. When you hear comments out there about fiscal responsibility, I mean, here's the proof in the pudding. It's in the books, right? If you stop and think about it, years ago, around 2000, 2008, 2007, 2008, when they were doing the CAC, they were projecting approximately a $3 year increase in dues. Well, not a year, but per month, in your dues. It would be $3 a month in dues increase. However, with the finances of the management and the people on the board, you were able to keep dues down last year to a 50-cent increase, and coming this year, 2013, to a 0 increase. So I think that our treasurer and the manager needs a round of applause for that. The CAC loan was refinanced during the year. The interest rate was lowered, and dues collected in excess of the monthly payment are paid into a principal on a monthly basis, which is going to help us pay down that loan quicker. We expect to pay off the loan in 2016 instead of 2018 for the original loan. This saved Oakmonters. Those of you that didn't pay the lump sum, that were paying them monthly, saved you $1.8 million. Excuse me, $1.18 million, excuse me. Once again, I think that's a tremendous asset that we have in our treasurer, and I think he did an outstanding job working the manager to get that taken care of. Now, there's been a lot of comments and concerns about, there's been a recent thing in the paper in Penwood regarding CFM. All right? I've addressed it in the Oakmont News, I've addressed it in other public forums. I guess we'll ride this dead horse again. All right? The change to CFM for accounting services has proven very beneficial. The audit for 2012 did not detect any errors. 0, none, zilch, nada. All right? And we asked the auditors to review internal control for invoice processing. The OVA staff, in conjunction with CFM, was given a clean bill of health. All right, so we're doing things by the books, we're doing it in accordance with the law, and we're saving you money. All right? So I think, once again, they've done a great job in CFM. Once again, they're doing exactly what we're asking them doing. Some of the other benefits we get from CFM, financials are timely and accurate. An advanced copy is provided for review before the final. Before we went to CFM, we never got that on time. That was never done. Okay, costs by location are tracked. Project costs are tracked. Operating statements are presented month by month. The system is online in the OVA office. So they don't have to a lot of times go to ask CFM, they can just pull it right up on the system through the Assist system, which gives better service to our Oakmont members. The detailed information for the phone directory takes days instead of months to produce. We used to have one person work on that. When I talk about the telephone directory, we sell that information for somebody to put the directory together, and we get money for that. Well, that would take somebody several months, 3 to 6 months to do that. Now it takes a matter of weeks. All right? It's because we got it electronically on board and so forth like that. And also part of the package that we got from Assist is work orders are online, and they allow for tracking and history, which was one of my big things when I first got on the board, and I asked the maintenance manager, where's your machinery history log? Any of those of you that have been in the industry or maintenance, any of your piece of major equipment should have a history to it. When you bought it, what you've done to it, what's been wrong with it, how you repaired it, what it cost, time and date. None of that was captured. And we should be capturing all that information right now, which gives us a better job for planning and spending our money, which is the whole reason behind having that system, is to give better service to our community and to its members at a very cost-effective rate. All right? In conclusion, I'd like to say Oakmont's in great financial shape at this point. A number of issues have been identified in the forensic study, as we all know. And I don't think there was a building going that didn't have something that needed to have some items addressed. But I think that those of you that attended some of our open town hall meetings realize that the board, and I'm sure that the next board will also carry this forward, but planning and allocating resources where we need to do it in order to to address these concerns. The new board will need help and constructive input from OVA members. And that's a good thing to keep in mind. We have our committee meetings. We'll have a lot more meetings when it comes regards to two big ones that I can think of off the top of my head is the new office building and possibly the West Rec, whatever we plan to do there. Those will require input from the community. So please, if you see announcements or you hear announcements that the committee meetings have this, please attend. Or if you can't attend, give your input to a friend of yours that that will attend and will quote you correctly. You get your input in. Right, so that's where it needs to come to. And once again, I just want to thank you to the volunteers of the OVA. Now, I've already discussed the CFM. I've talked about it, and I'm not going to go into the numbers. I've done that several times, like I said already. Being quoted as paying over $100,000 for accounting services is just blatantly wrong and false. It's not even close to being correct. What happens is we pay CFM equal to or less than what we paid our previous accounting firm for accounting services. However, we have an assist software package that we wanted to get into the 21st century, and it so happens that's why we went with CFM, is because they had that software, they used that software, and so we paid through them to use Assist. So that money doesn't go to CFM. It goes for the software. It's a different service. You need to be aware of that. Right? You talk about the escrow and mortgages. All those things are within industry standards. Right? And so, like I said, I'm not going to dwell too much on that. That's already been taken care of. There was also a concern voiced regarding our committee procedure, C001, and our committee procedure, committees and liaisons policy, if I remember correctly. Right? We had we had a policy and a procedure. As we all know, policies are more strategic in nature, and the procedures are tactical at the lower level. They implement your policy. Well, it was brought to our attention by an OVA member that we had some conflicts between the two. So we formed a quick ad hoc committee, and I'm on it, Mr. Herman's on it, Mr. Wally Schell, and we're addressing that. And I think by the next board meeting, you're going to find a revised committee policy that reflects exactly all our governing documents, and it provides exactly what we've always wanted to do, but for somehow we got mired in the mud, and we weren't doing it originally, but now we're doing it, inviting people to committee meetings, open them up to people to participate. But keep in mind, also providing them the opportunity, the committees that is, to sit there and say, okay, hey, this is an item that we want to work on. Let's go over and get a glass of wine at my house and iron this out. So then we do that, then we come back to the next committee meeting, and then we open it up because we're getting ready to make a decision that's got to go to the board. And it tells you right there in Robert's Rules, any major decision that you're going to do, you have to sit there and present. You got to have an open meeting or a hearing, for lack of a better term, before presenting it to the board. So you do that. So we want to have openness, we want to have accountability, and so we're not going to lose any of that. Okay, I think we've been going in the right direction the last couple of years, and we'll continue to do so. And the revamping of this policy is not going to negatively affect that at all. Then there was a concern, well, we'll just go on to the next one. The acknowledgement of volunteers. I'd like to, first of all, go down the list of our committees. We have anybody from the Audio Visual Technology Committee here? Okay, Ms. Karen Van Sant is our chair. Please stand, Karen, so everybody can see you. Right? And if any of your fellow committee members, Pat Barclay, Jack France, Mike Noble, stand up, Mike, everybody see you. Richard Sykes, there's Richard. and the liaison was Herm Herman. All right. So once again, these are the people that volunteer to help you with a lot of the stuff we're doing right now. Next committee I'd like to recognize would be the bus committee by Ms. Tamara Wise. She couldn't make it, okay. How about Ruth Caldwell? Okay, bus committee's on the bus. Okay, Steve Carroll, Nancy Chandler, Irene Eagleton, Dee Fannin, Al Livermore, Caroline Ramberg, or Helen Young. All right. Communications committee. Mr. Richard Duncan is the chairman. I thought I seen Richard earlier. Here he is, standing in the back, distinguished white-haired gentleman. Okay. And you have Yvonne Frauenfelder. I don't see Yvonne here. Dutch Bleckleiter. Dutch is on the camera right here. Marty Thompson. You see Marty. John Williston. And Bob Giddings is the liaison, board liaison for the committee. Once again, that is your communications committee, or AKA your publicity committee. Then we have our Oakmont Community Development Committee. And all our committees work especially hard and put a lot of hours and effort in. And I don't want to diminish and sound like I'm diminishing anyone. However, you got a committee here that has to not only deal with a lot of people within or things, not so much Oakmont because once it's development, people external to Oakmont. So they have to deal with the local governments and other property owners and stuff like that. And they do a darn good job of it. They have for a number of years. And the chair for that, I seen her walk in earlier, is Pat Amadeo. Okay? You have Fran Diaz. Fran sitting up front. Y'all seen her earlier. Will Haymaker. Is Will here? Didn't see him. Okay. Herm Hess. Herm. Ms. Sue Millar. John Taylor. Wally Schilk. And Mr. Giddings was your board liaison. So once again, for your Oakmont Community Development Committee. Okay, then we get into our facilities improvement, chaired by Mr. Arthur Boot. Art, take a step. You have Mr. Bob Adams. Next one. Mr. Don Appleby. Okay, let's see Don. Tom Conley. Tina Daly. Jerry Godbreath. Jack Linhart. He's moving to Tennessee, so he's probably here. Kate Mahaffey, Sam McClure, John Bundy, and Miss Evelyn George was the board liaison. Once again, facilities improvement. Next we have is the landscape improvement. Miss Eleanor Blodnatsky is the chair. Eleanor, I seen you here earlier. There she is. Cecil Sherrod. Let's see, Marianne Neufel. Oh, Marianne, good deal, thank you. Kathy Carson. Yvonne Horn. Alan Scott. Let's see, Alan, thank you. Sandy White. And the liaison was Ms. Barbara Robinson. Once again, your landscape improvement committee. The next one would be your long-range planning committee. The chair is Mr. Yepa Yule, followed by Ms. Carol Cotton, Ms. Kate Johnson, Wendy LeLane, Tony Lackowitz, Jim Ouimet, John Williston, and your board liaison to that committee was Mr. Herm Herman. The next committee I'd like to talk about would be your Oakmont Emergency Preparedness Committee. And that's Mr. Al Thomas, the chair. Oh, he's in the back room doing work. No fun for Al. Okay, and his fellow volunteers are Les Hove, Dr. Hovey, excuse me, and plus 18 others comprise the committee. And they just didn't give us all their names. All right, so, but Ms. Barbara Robinson is the liaison. Excuse me. The next committee would be the Finance Committee, which is chaired by our treasurer, Mr. Chuck Chenault. And Mrs. Donna Hopley is a member of that. Mr. Yepa Yule. And I'm going to announce you anyway, Susan. Ms. Sue Millar, you just recently resigned, correct? But she spent so many years there prepared for it. Mr. Mike Noble. Ms. Kathy Rapp. Hey, Kathy. And I think that was it as far as, because Mr. Chenault was also the board liaison for that. Once again, your Finance Committee. Let's see. And the last committee, and by no means least, is we have our Architectural Committee. Okay, the chair for that is Ms. Andrea Holton. I believe she goes by Andy. Mary Ann Newfield. Is she there? And Dean Whitridge. You there? Alan Carstensen. Jim Husty or Husty. Tom Rodella. And your board liaison, Mr. Herm Herman. All right. Once again, a huge round of applause for all our committees and volunteers. Now, it comes that time of the program where I'd like to acknowledge the volunteer work that our outgoing board of directors. A lot of you, you have a monthly meeting, third Thursday, Tuesday of each month, 1 to 3. Well, believe me, they put a lot more in than just those 2 hours. They've really done a lot of hard work. We've run into a lot of things that have been identified in the last year, and having to do that and trying to juggle 20 different balls or whatever the case may be, and then plus their own time also to do what they can around the house, support family. The first person I'd like to recognize is Mr. Bob Giddings. Bob? Okay, the asterisk is Bob wants to make sure I told you he was only on for 7 months, but not 2 years. All right, but that was the 7 hard months. Believe me, look, he looked 35 when he first took that job. He had hair on his head. It was black. But once again, Bob stepping in like he did. A lot of you may be familiar with the story. I won't go into it, but he stepped in to help us to serve his community once again, as he does all the time. Mr. Bob Giddings. The next person I'd like to recognize as one of our ongoing directors is Ms. Barbara Robinson. Yes, she just let me know she thanked me for talking her into it 2 years ago. So, hey, misery loves company. So we go down that road together. But it was enjoyable. She brought some fresh ideas, a different perspective. Her mother had lived here for years, and that's how she really knew about Oakmont. So she knew a lot of the people. And then her and her husband, Jack, moved here herself. So it was great to have her on the board. I think she had a lot of good ideas and a different perspective than what you would get from just people that have already been here for a number of years. So once again, Ms. Barbara Robinson. And last but not least, Mr. Chuck Chenault, my treasurer. love it. Every one of them's giving me a segue into a comment. And Chuck says, yes, it's been 2, but it's been like 14 dog years. So, you know, it's... So anyway, once again, for the outgoing board members, round of applause, please. So that means you've got Miss Evelyn George, Herman, and myself for 1 more year. So, you know. Now we get into the next item of business. I'll open up, excuse me, that will be unfinished business. Do I hear we're closing the balloting?
I move to close the ballots.
Okay, I have a motion to close the ballots. I have a second by Mr. Yepa Yule. All in favor? Aye. All opposed? Pat Amadeo. And Yepa second. So the balloting is closed. I told you had a couple minutes. Early and often. Remember that old Chicago's name for voting. All right. Next one, we'll sit there and open the microphone. This is an annual membership meeting. We have a microphone in the middle of the passageway aisle right there. If there is someone from the membership that would like to make a comment, please, once again, as with all our meetings, identify yourself and your address, and then make your comment. Anybody like to do something?
Mr. President, 13 days ago I asked you how much we had spent on the forensic study. And you told me 33,000. Upon further review, it's really 66,000. Why do you think that error in your mind was there?
Well, okay, first of all, I was not in error. Okay. Secondly, I think what you got is that when you looked at our financials, you've probably seen about three or four different line item entries for Axis. Well, all of them was not for the forensic study. Only the one for like $30-something thousand was for the forensic. The other was for a couple other proposals that we're having to do. So that's not the you know.
It's labeled forensic study on my financial report.
Well, yeah, and I talked to the manager about that, and I told her we need to be more descriptive in our line items in that.
So what kind of expenses were there?
I just told you, around about $30,000.
Right, but what were the other expenses?
Ms. Arnold?
One of them was for the power entry project. Not on. Can you hear me now?
Yeah, it's on. You just got to speak up.
Okay, one was for the power entry project, which one was for the power entry project.
Speak up, get close.
Oh, what? Can you hear me now?
Yeah.
One was for the power entry project, which is the central power problem that we dealt with. One is for the in-depth destructive testing that we did for the ones.
Right.
And then another part of it was the board engaged a second architect to do a peer review.
That's correct. All right. Next question. Or comment. Okay. There being none, I'll go to the next item of business, a Bravo Volunteer of the Year. Now this is once again, and I love giving these awards out. We cannot acknowledge the people in our community enough for what they do. And the person that's going to get the Volunteer of the Year award this year is Ms. Pat Clothier. Please stand by. We have a couple of people that are going to give a little testimonials for you too. You didn't think Maurice was the only one to get made fun of today, did you? Oh, okay, good. All right. Bob, did you want to go first? Okay, we'll have Mr. Bob Giddings give a few words for Pat Clothier, followed by Ms. Laura Colgate.
Hello. Patricia Clothier, Patricia F. Clothier, It's hard to read through a microphone. Pat is a fellow director with 5 other of us in Oakmont in the Community Foundation. And we're all very proud of her, especially today as she receives this well-deserved award for the Oakmont community, from the Oakmont community. But what do we really know about Pat Lothier? Well, she can write an excellent letter to the editor. She thinks very well and can get to the crux of an issue very quickly. She is an attorney and has managed attorneys. She is extremely well spoken. She dresses very well and with style. She gets the highest numbers of colds each year of any person I've ever met. And I know when she lowers her voice and looks at you, you better be listening very carefully. She is generous with hors d'oeuvres, food, and wine. She is well connected in this city, and I strongly suspect in other cities as well. She is not connected with organized crime, as far as I know. She loves music. She loves opera. She probably even loves ballet. I know it. She is very well read. She knows insurance, but I don't know anyone who holds that against her. She is blessed with a keen and wicked sense of humor. She has get up and go. She can speak plainly or complicatedly. She has an elegant mind. She meets people with empathy. She is never, to quote Frost, a mood apart. She works diligently on programs to protect elder citizens from abuse in our county. She works diligently on programs as a director of the Santa Rosa Symphony. She is a founding and current director and first president of the Oakmont Community Foundation. It would not exist if Patricia weren't involved. By the way, I'm sure she would like you to leave a tax-deductible donation before you leave today. I am not sure this is all we know about Pat, but we are quite sure that there is much, much more to be known about her. You see, she is one of these people blessed with many talents and that have chosen not to hide them under a bushel basket. We see evidence of this from her good works in Oakmont, the city of Santa Rosa, and Sonoma County. Because of her and her actions, this community is better off. In short, Pat Lothier makes the fabric of our society stronger, tougher, and more colorful. I told my wife all of this to see if I got down at least most of what we, her fellow Community Foundation directors, wanted to say about Pat today. And then I asked my wife, how should we say to everyone how we feel about Pat? Just tell them, she said, what you guys really feel. But all of her fellow directors of the foundation respect her, thank her for all her work and contributions, and that she is very special, and that you all love her. But I won't do that. Today it's about Pat, and I'll leave our feelings out of it. Congratulations, Pat.
Down to normal height here, okay. The next person, some of you may know, but she's not a member of Oakmont per se. She's on the Council of Aging, Miss Laura Colgate.
When I first met Pat, she was somebody who wanted a tour of the Family Justice Center in Sonoma County. All I knew is that she had an interest in volunteering and that she wanted to take a tour to see if this was something that she wanted to pursue. So I met Pat, took her on a tour of the Family Justice Center, and she said, what are your volunteer opportunities? I told her, we have needs for reception. She then looked at me in all her seriousness and wisdom with a little smile and said, I just don't think that's for me. But let's be creative and figure out something else. So from that conversation was born the Family Justice Center traveling show of town hall meetings to teach people about elder abuse, to teach people about how to protect yourselves, to engage in the community and other things that they wanted to learn as far as better serving the elders. And I just heard from Pat that I think even yesterday she was out giving a speech with the Assistant District Attorney's Office on more opportunities to help serve the elder community. So Pat, I'll tell you a couple of other personal things too. Pat can make a wicked drink. So around 4 o'clock, if you don't have anything else to do, and the appetizers are pretty dang phenomenal too. So Pat and I have a history because we formed this bond when we first met. And I really appreciated her get up and go. I appreciated her quick wit and her ability to articulate very succinctly exactly what she had on her mind. So we were kindred spirits from the very beginning. And so I really appreciated all my time spent with her. And now when we go to Monty's and share a mushroom pizza together and conspire about other great things we want to do for the community, we have a great time and we have the companionship to change Sonoma County. And I think that that's really clear. If you look around this room, I was just listening to Jim about how many people actually volunteer right here in this room. I've always been told I'm a chronic do-gooder because across the road I'm the board president of the Valley Community Children's Foundation. I was the ED at the Family Justice Center, and now I'm a director of the Council on Aging. And I'm the director of the Meals on Wheels program. So I have about 150 volunteers working for me. And at any given moment, the value of those volunteers is really prevalent in my mind. So I think all of you could be really proud of yourselves that you're volunteering to develop this community, to run this community, and sustain this community. And those are really important attributes for volunteers. Pat, as Volunteer of the Year, I am so excited for you because it really is befitting all of the things that you've done for Santa Rosa, for Sonoma County, and probably a lot of other places too. So I am honored to be your friend.
I just wish I knew who this wonderful person is that they're talking about. I don't recognize her, but thank you.
Once again, Ms. Pat Clothier, the Volunteer of the Year. That about wraps it up until item 9 is a recess until tomorrow morning at 9 o'clock over in the Upper West Center at 9 a.m. where we'll start counting the ballots. That will be followed by a reconvene at approximately 2 p.m. on the west with the reorganization meeting for the board of directors. With that, thank you very much and have a great day. All right.